He's one away from the record. The NBA record is Steph's 13 threes. Catch and shoot three. There it is. He's tied Steph. 13 threes.
Well, it's only right that Stephen got the assist to tie.
You think Clay knows he tied the record?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
For NBA history, he got it! 14 threes in a game. Has never been done until tonight. With an NBA.
And that's what happened in the NBA last night. Klay Thompson breaks his teammate's record, Stephen Curry, for most threes in a game in only 26 minutes. Dropped a 52-burger on the Bulls. Warriors crushed them in video game-like numbers. What's going on, guys? How's your Tuesday?
It's good to be back on the Splash Brothers podcast. You know, this is talking about how much we appreciate Klay and Steph on a daily basis.
It's another fun time.
Another great day for number 30 and number 11. Two greatest shooters, one up in each other.
Yeah, there's nobody else on that team. There's just those two.
Don't disrespect.
Even with those two, they don't need
a dynamic duo.
Don't disrespect anybody on that team.
Yeah, don't disrespect Boogie like that, okay?
He's the heart and soul of the bench.
He is. You see celebrations?
Yep.
They're insane.
Well, I mean, I'd be having fun, too, if I was sitting and watching Steph and Klay and KD every night.
And we'll get into more basketball stuff. We'll get into the Warriors, get into... Was it right for Steve Kerr to pull Klay Thompson before the fourth?
Never.
To see if he could. You don't think it was wrong? You think he was fine with that? You were fine with that? Him getting pulled?
No.
Pull him.
I said never pull him.
Oh, I thought you
never
meant, like,
pull him.
Never pull him.
Oh,
leave him in.
You want one of your best players to get hurt in the
Let
fourth
it fly.
quarter. Oh,
fourth quarter of a
60-point
game?
lead.
He could have been hurt in the first three quarters. That's the game.
That's what happened to D. Rose.
That's the game, though.
Up 60, just leave everybody in.
You never know.
Never play the bench players.
Hey, you could be Gordon Hayward, Jeremy Lin that get hurt in the first quarter.
Never let the 12th man get any burn. Don't let any of the hardworking guys play.
No.
Well, that's heartless. That's ruthless.
What, do you want to be the bench player that goes in with the final 2 minutes of the game? Hey, go get some minutes.
Hey,
yes, I do.
No, I'd rather sit the rest of the bench.
3-game road trip back to back to back. You're just playing them every single game, every minute.
Clay's had a rough
road trip. Just go.
Clay's had a rough beginning to the season. I think
no rest.
He wanted to just keep going.
No
just
rehabilitation, nothing.
No. Man had 52 points.
His team's going to fall apart before midseason, before Christmas.
They don't have to do that every game. He's not going to do that every game, but when you have a game like that, let him fly.
You're saying it like every game.
Man. That's not what I mean.
We're starting off with a bang today, guys.
The Phoenix Suns let Devin Booker just chuck away.
They're the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, there's
Klay Thompson is efficient.
They had to do that for them to win.
He had what, 52?
That's true.
He had 52 or 56 dribbles. There was like all these crazy stats that
Klay never
different
dribbles a lot.
players.
Klay's a catch and shoot player.
I know, but it's insane for him to do that.
They've also breaking that down tons of times when Klay did his what was the 35 points in a quarter or something.
Right.
37. Whatever it was. And wasn't it earlier in that year too? That's when Kevin Love had like 35 points in a quarter.
I think so. There was something, or at least he had like a good half or something.
No, I think it was like 35 in the first, and then Klay had 37 in like a second quarter. Anyways, let's talk some football before we get into all this Golden State madness, because there is some news coming into the studio. Golden Tate, no longer a Detroit Lion. He's been shipped to the Philadelphia Eagles for a third-round pick. I was going to talk about today. You guys see the Lions trading Golden Tate? Well, we got our answer. What do you think of the trade, Joey?
It's probably the right move. I know everybody's a little disappointed by it. I'm a little disappointed by it.
A little. The fan base is
right. Why are you not disappointed?
I have some people texting me that are
He was a great player and a great guy just to have in Detroit.
Well, here's the thing, Joe.
For the culture.
The culture.
There's no culture of football here in Detroit. There's zero culture.
But there is Detroit culture.
That's fine.
With
don't
sports.
say there's no culture. That's a strong Lions fan.
You always talk about
don't disrespect the Lions fan.
Why do they have fans, Malik?
Exactly. That's what you always talk
Because
about.
Detroit, they
but
love
that
football.
is the culture.
Because they love football.
That is the culture.
Anyways, we're going to get sidetracked into another conversation. But I like the trade.
I like it too.
No, you said, you asked me, why do I like it? Or why I wasn't upset about it.
What? Did I ask that?
You
Yes,
said
you
you did.
Okay.
Why I'm not upset about it is because this team.
Oh, because about the personality. That's what I meant.
All right. Why?
Of losing Golden Tate. I'm not saying of the trade overall.
Oh, well,
I'm saying, like, is it bad? Like, do you feel bad to lose Golden Tate? Like, a guy that's been on this team for a long
No.
time.
because this team was going nowhere anyways. Might as well get a third-round pick is solid value.
Right. That's what I'm
happy.
saying.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Like,
about
I think
it.
the trade.
I think they made a good move.
The trade needed to be done. They're not going to re-sign him. They're not going to get anything for him.
They're not going to the playoffs.
So
it's
they
not like
had
they have a chance.
to do it. But he's one of those guys that, like, you hate to see go. Is more or
Fair
less
enough.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
He was a good line. Happy he was here. Made some big-time plays. But it's time to move on. Malik, what'd you think of this trade? Was it the right move, wrong move? What's your interpretation?
Honestly, right now, this news just came in literally minutes ago, so I'm not sure how to feel about it. It's a puzzling move to me because, like Joey said, he's been a pillar of this team for years. He's been a part of the reason why they've had 3 playoff teams in the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and was a part of one of the maybe the best Lions football team of this since 2000. That 11-5 team
That's so
with him
sad.
and Calvin and Reggie Bush.
I was 11-5.
So-
Sad.
That was the best team.
That was a really good
since
team.
Barry
11-5
Sanders era.
is a great record.
But
a
that was
really
the
good
best team. That team didn't win a playoff game, but that was the best team. It's sad. Sorry.
They got close multiple times. Yes.
They got screwed against the Cowboys. But that's besides the point.
They did.
Golden
That's
Tate
true.
has made plays for the Lions for years. He's been over 90 catches the past 3 years. His yards after the catch has been insane. He's been a really consistent playmaker. He had a little bit. It looks like he's had a little bit of a drop off this year, but
Right.
he's still been making plays. And yeah, for them to get rid of him for a 3rd-round pick before the middle of the season, at the middle of the season, just kind of weird. But we got to see how this turns out because
Here's the thing, too.
that 3rd-round pick could go either horribly or
Right.
well. We don't
That's
know.
true.
Man.
That's true.
Giving up Golden Tate hurts right now.
I don't think they make this trade if Kenny Galladay hasn't made that step as
And
that number 2
could.
receiver.
He could.
And
His-
he
has.
has shown
He's very
flashes.
talented. He has. He definitely.
And I think they want
has.
to put him in a position to get more catching opportunities. Marvin Jones is your 1. Kenny Galladay is now your 2 by default.
Yeah.
I like the move because it'll give Galladay more opportunities as well as help benefit your team in the long run.
I really think. I wish we could have gotten a higher pick, like maybe even a 2nd-round pick, because
Well,
they're guys like N'Keal Harry, who's the best receiver in college football to me, and Laviska Shenault, who's arguably people say he's the best receiver in college football too. We could have gotten guys like that, but with a 3rd-round pick, you can still get a really good receiver, but it's an unknown.
Was
It's just an unknown.
carry on 2nd or 3rd round?
2nd.
Okay.
yeah,
yeah.
we traded for the 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
We'll talk. I want to talk more about the Lions in a little bit. Break down their fun time at Ford Field this week. But let's start with Michigan State. They beat Purdue 23-13. Bounced back after the loss against Michigan. Do you guys have any expectations for them going forward? Or is this season kind of a wash now?
I think considering the expectations that they had in preseason, I think this season is a wash right now. They had 3 losses. Is not what they expected to have coming into this Purdue game. But I think there's a serious conversation that coaching staff needs to start having right now, because Rocky Lombardi is the quarterback of the future for that team, and he was out there throwing darts. Once he started to build confidence, it looked like he had been there for a while. He's big. He's strong. I think there will be a quarterback controversy very soon. Rocky Lombardi may not be the official starter until next year, but you have to consider it, because for him to throw for over 300 passing yards and a touchdown in his first game, once he got to the second half, he was confident, and he had no problems back there. And he's a really tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
When he runs, he gets those extra yards because of his big build. And yeah, I think there will be a quarterback controversy because
definitely.
of how tough he was in that game.
Yeah.
And that Michigan State defense is still top notch.
That's the thing that you really you're not really worried too much about Michigan State when it comes to their defense. It's really that offensive production. Joe, what was your take from MSU's win over Purdue?
It was a win. I mean, Purdue was on a little bit of a streak, so it was a solid win.
I think if that game was in Purdue, it would have been a lot harder. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But like we've said multiple times, like Michigan State's season is pretty much over. I mean, yeah, they can make a bowl game and, they can manage the end of the season to make it somewhat nice. But like Malik said, like expectations going in were much higher. So
You had almost your whole offense coming back.
right. To fall short of those really hurts the team. And then now like with Rocky Lombardi looking really good, like Malik said as well, it'll be interesting to see if that pushes maybe for Lewerke to enter the draft because, he had his good season last season.
I think it might. I think that's a good point.
And now
serious fall off this season.
He's really
along with the
struggled.
injuries.
I know there's other parts to it that it's not just him that struggled that have caused it, but he is a part of it. And with Lombardi having a good game like this, it definitely, like if a game starts to run away, like if Michigan State gets way ahead or they fall way behind, I can definitely see Lombardi coming in, getting more snaps, getting more attempts, and just working him into the offense a little bit more. And if that happens, going into next season will be a big quarterback controversy. And I don't know if Lewerke would want to be involved in that going into his senior season. Or the flip side, it pushes him even harder to work in the offseason, and he comes back for his senior year and just has a big year. So that'll be interesting to see how Lewerke's going to take this whole situation because, yeah, this was a good win by your redshirt freshman that came in, got a lot of attempts, got to be comfortable with the offense, and looked good doing it.
Yeah, and I think that's something to watch the rest of the year is that quarterback controversy, just how that plays out, how that whole situation works out. Let's talk some Michigan, though. They're coming off their bye week. Big game this week against Penn State at the Big House. Malik, I want you to preview this game for us. What are some things Michigan needs to do to beat Penn State? Or what are some things they need to watch out for so they don't get upset at home?
Well, they definitely have to watch out for this team because they have weapons and they are well coached, even though their coach does come up short in very big games, especially against Ohio State and Michigan State. But they're still very well coached by James Franklin. But they have one of the best leaders and best quarterbacks in the country in Trace McSorley. And even although last week he did have some problems, he did get hurt, he came back and led them to a win. They gutted out a really tough game last week against Iowa, 30-24. And it looked like at times Iowa should have taken hold, but they just didn't. Michigan, this being at the Big House is perfect for them. Penn State, like I said, they gutted out a tough win last week, but they're not looking like the team everybody expected them to. All of their games have been close. They could almost be undefeated right now, but they also could have maybe 4 losses.
Mm-hmm.
They barely beat Indiana. They barely lose to Ohio State. Just so many close games. Michigan's defense is going to show up. Whether it's a slow start or not, Michigan's defense is going to show up. Shea Patterson is on a roll. Karan Higdon is on a roll. That offensive line has gotten better and better every game. I think there's no reason why Michigan shouldn't confidently win this game because besides the few really strong pieces Penn State has going for them, they haven't shown the sign of a team that'll show up and just really put it on a team offensively or defensively. There will always be points in a game where they look sketchy at some point. Penn State will. So I think Michigan wins this one 31-14. It shouldn't be really in doubt. I don't think they'll let Trace McSorley really go crazy or let Miles Sanders have a big game. I think this should be a confident win for Michigan.
Joe, what about you? What's your kind of preview for this one?
Michigan needs to take this game very seriously because, like we keep saying, they've been winning. They've been looking really good. And now they're in the nitty-gritty stretch of the season. They got Penn State and Ohio State are their big opponents left. But they have to take every single game like it's their last. Because if they lose one of these games, they're out of the playoffs. They have to win each and every one of these games. They can't take a back seat to anybody in these games. They have to play dominant, and they have to be decisive, and they have to just almost run over these teams because they need to prove that they can make it and be in that playoff, especially with Ohio State kind of falling off. They can't go into that Ohio State game
With
like
doubt,
just
yeah.
barely beating some of these teams. They have to go in there definitively knowing that they are a playoff team.
What's your prediction for this one?
I definitely think they'll win this game. It should win. Like the offenses are very similar to each other, Penn State and Michigan. So the defense again is a big difference where Penn State's defense is nowhere near as good as Michigan's. So I'm assuming that Michigan will cause enough pressure to slow down their offense, and that's where Michigan will get its win, just like they've done all season.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think this has got to be a convincing win for Michigan. Penn State, like you said, they're just kind of like that streaky team. You never know what you're going to get from them. They'll be close for a lot of games, and then they'll blow another team out. But yeah, they need to win out this whole schedule convincingly to get into that college football playoff. Moving on. It's time for the weekly edition on this show, the Joey Lions Confidence Check. Joe, your Detroit Lions lost 28-14 at home in a game we talked about last week. Like, they need to win this game to Seattle, a team that we weren't really convinced was that good of a team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They lost, Joe.
They still don't look like a great team. Seattle. Nor did the Lions.
But you never take Russell Wilson lightly.
Exactly.
That's one thing you can't do.
What's the confidence check, Joe?
Well, the confidence check for this week is kind of just a wash. I'm going to kind of just let this game go by.
What?
And that's
what?
And that is only because of the standings. And Minnesota losing, Green Bay losing, Chicago winning is still the problem. But
they were playing the Jets, so like that's kind of a win on the schedule.
The Lions got destroyed by the Jets. But anyway, so like this game was bad, but I'm gonna just almost take a flyer on it, and we need to recheck next week because next week, I'll tell you right now, is a must win. Obviously, I don't think anybody's gonna even like anybody that's on the same level as me, where you have like any confidence whatsoever. You have to win the next 2 weeks because otherwise you're out.
How do you have any hope for this team after what?
I just told you the standings. The Lions are still in contention with the standings.
You're right, I understand.
So that's what I'm going off of.
Realistically,
Minnesota hasn't looked as good as everybody thought. Green Bay is starting to step up, which is a little bit spooky.
If it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they played the Rams really well.
They did.
For all the troubles they had. And Chicago just keeps sneaking away with wins. I don't know how they're doing it, but
they're a tough team.
They're doing it. But this game was just bad on all facets of the game. Like, normally the Lions will have like one particular area that they struggled on. This game, it was just rough all around. Like, Stafford didn't look that great. He had a couple turnovers. Amir Abdullah's kickoff return fumble was awful.
Typical Amir.
Get him out of here.
That pretty much closed the deal with him. Lions couldn't get their running game going. Back to the old Lions there. And they got ran over themselves, which they just picked up Damon Harrison to help out their run defense.
No one knows who that is. His name is Snacks.
Snacks.
You know, I heard he doesn't actually like that nickname.
Then why is his Twitter handle @Snacks?
Because that's what people know him by. But
I'm sorry. We don't refer to him.
Rumor has it as he doesn't like it.
Rumor has he's got to come on the show to verify that.
However, he was double teamed a lot. So I don't know how the Lions couldn't get pressure. They let Chris Carson.
I think that talks a lot about the
because their line isn't that talented.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Unless the DBs play great, there will be no pressure.
Right. Yeah. But the DBs can't cover running backs. That's what we've talked about a lot. Jared Davis struggles with it. The linebackers like struggle in certain coverage situations that I don't understand. The secondary got torched. Teased Tabor. He even apologized after the game.
I saw that.
I mean, it's a rough game for a young kid like that to have to.
That's what it's starting to look like. If the DBs don't play well, that defense falls apart.
Which is unfortunate.
And that was going to be
because they're playing a lot of man-to-man, and that's like.
And the Seahawks receivers aren't even that impressive. They have some solid receivers.
Yeah, but I think the bigger
Chris
thing.
Moore,
they're not like they're not crazy, but like you got. I mean, Doug Baldwin's usually hurt, but guys like Tyler Lockett and them, they've been in that Russell Wilson system for a while, so they have really good chemistry, I think. So I think that helps. And obviously having a quarterback like Russell Wilson makes your receivers better, obviously.
Definitely.
So having them get the run game going with Chris Carson just allowed Russell Wilson to do all these different read options, all these easy little passes, and he makes all the tough passes too. I mean, he barely threw the ball in this game, but he still had 3 touchdowns, was super efficient, and he just shows why he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And the Lions just overall, like, they look bad. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. They just looked bad. And these next 2 weeks, well, just next week. If they don't win next week, it's over. And I will officially say it is over next week. If they lose.
He says that now. They're gonna lose by 2 or 3 points. He's gonna be, you know what? I think they have a chance if this, and this happens.
No, because that'll put the Vikings up 2 games on them, and that'll put Chicago potentially 3 games. That's out of reach at that point.
Why do you think the Lions came out so flat in a must-win game? You have an energized Ford Field.
Well, they actually scored first, so.
But you can score first and still come out flat.
No, I know.
I don't.
It was like when Seattle took the lead, the Lions just fizzled out, and it was over, which is really sad to see.
It wasn't even that much of a punch.
Because a lot of the times, like we say, the Lions at least make a comeback. They make it a little bit of effort.
There was nothing.
There's sometimes like a miracle throw by Stafford or something like that.
I mean, that's probably the more so where I'm saying where they kind of maybe not come out flat, but finish flat is probably the better way to describe it.
Yeah, they just kind of gave up, which it's hard to see.
And you kind of touched on this too. I want to get Malik's opinion on this because I already know your opinion. Do you think this was the beginning of the end for the Lions season?
Next week.
No, Joe.
Who do they play the next 2 weeks?
Minnesota,
Chicago and Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota and Chicago.
Right. That order.
Are they both away? Which is away? Which is at home?
I think Minnesota's away.
Yeah, Minnesota's away. No, they're both away, I'm pretty sure, because Chicago's at home for Thanksgiving.
Probably right.
So, yeah, they're both road games.
I'm in all the college stuff. I'll check while you give your
Malik,
analysis.
your silence.
You can still give a little bit of analysis, though, knowing that they're playing Minnesota and Chicago.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the end.
I mean, the beginning of the end was Jets annihilating them week 1.
The chances of the Lions pulling off some miraculous run aren't high.
None to none. Not even
have never
slim
been
to none.
high.
Yeah.
At Minnesota. At Chicago. Yeah, they're both away.
I've seen
it was a good season, guys. Yeah. We had a lot of fun. It was a good time.
I've seen us win in both places.
Okay, so if you just want to go on my logic for a second,
Chicago.
What if they win? What if they win both of those games?
Then they still have a chance.
If they win both those games, if they win both those games, I will jump back on the Lions bandwagon.
Okay.
Then there's still a chance, and
if they
Lions
lose,
fan will be sweating.
If they lose this week, we're done. We don't have to worry about it. It's over.
But it'll be even worse if they win the next 2 weeks because you know it's going to end with an 8-8 or 9-7 season. They're just going to tease you until the end when they finish third in the standings.
They'll win the away games and they'll lose the home division games.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
typical Lions. Let's move into NFL picks. Last week, currently we have a new leader on the board.
It's a rough week.
Malik Hill comes in at number 1.
What's up?
47 correct picks. Joey.
47 correct.
Joey in second place with 45.
Still close.
I've distanced myself a little bit. I'm at 38.
Whoa.
So I'm still there, but I'm not.
Are you?
Every week is distancing himself a little bit.
No, because last week I made up some ground. This week it was.
I think it was 1 though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this was a 2.
Stop taking the bait picks, man.
1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Exactly.
Stop taking the bait picks. Did you take Buffalo?
No,
I didn't remember.
No.
You usually take those picks.
That wasn't even a pick that would make.
Oh, man.
Let's get into our first pick. The Oakland Raiders. I did pick them last week.
Me too.
At the San Francisco 49ers. Start with Malik.
Snooze fest.
The battle of the California team. This is for all the bragging rights.
That's it, man.
Between 2 horrible teams.
Who can get their second win?
Exactly. This is for all the bragging rights.
These are literally the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
I feel like the 49ers are going to win it. You said it's at San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 49ers are going to win it.
I'm taking the Raiders. Joe?
Matt Breida has a big game.
I have no idea.
Joey, it's a snooze fest.
Nor
Just
do
make
I
a
really
pick.
care. I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
I actually like how CJ Beathard's been playing lately.
I gotta try to make ground on Malik now.
Now this is a
They almost beat the Cardinals.
this is a rivalry game. This next one between Joey and I, the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins looked bad last week.
If Joey picks the
Unless
Jets,
Although-
last.
although
Dan
the
Marino
Texans-
was back there.
Although the Texans looked pretty good.
Dan Marino or Chad Pennington.
Malik, who you got?
Jets.
Dolphins.
Whoa, okay.
Miami. I still got faith.
And then this
Stop
is
putting faith in the
this is
Dolphins,
really
man.
gonna test his faith. The Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. Let me get mine out of the way because I do it every week. Give me the Vikes. Malik.
1, 2, 3. Lions.
Lions. Let's go.
Thanks for an easy win, guys.
Malik wants to keep the hope secretly.
Keep hope alive.
Chicago Bears at Buffalo Bills. Give me Chicago.
Bears.
Man,
But
I want to pick.
Buffalo, they're a joke right now.
I know.
It's
I want to
sad.
pick the Bills, but I have to pick the Bears.
You gotta go Buffalo.
I'm playing to win now.
Yeah, you gotta go
Bears.
Because-
Buffalo.
No, I'm going for the Bears
You trying to play mind games? or
because
something?
Because what?
because if the Lions lose next week, I got to start playing for picks no matter what. So
Yeah, you're right. Kansas City at Cleveland. I mean, if anybody wants
Hugh
to pick
Jackson
Cleveland,
gone, man. I'm so sad about that one. They have no patience. They will never have patience for a coach.
they fired their offensive coordinator too, right?
to be
Yeah.
fair,
Todd Haley.
isn't
Yeah.
Hugh Jackson's overall record 6-33 and a couple ties thrown in there?
I thought it was like 331-1.
Maybe I was wrong. Yeah, you're not even 6.
6-33-1. But
Let's throw Bill Belichick to the Browns. See how he does with them.
It's more than 3 or 6 wins.
I don't
I don't know.
I just forgot the team you said that was playing against the Browns, and I'm still taking that team. What team was it?
The Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
I
Chiefs.
already put us all down. The Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
I'm
Give
going
us
with the
the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons at the Washington Redskins.
Washington.
I'm with Malik.
They
on
are
this
just finding Adrian Peterson, man.
Bounce back here.
He is the
one. I'm so happy he's on my fantasy
he's
team.
the running back
too.
of our generation. He really is.
With Todd Gurley and Adrian Peterson on my team, I'm a happy guy.
He's still getting it done.
Joe,
I'm gonna go with the Falcons. I'm gonna really try to make some ground here.
I
There's
have
some,
a
there's
feeling
some
the
pretty
Falcons
good
are going
games.
to win this, but Washington just keeps winning games.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay at Carolina. Give me the Panthers.
Fitzpatrick is starting for this game.
Fitzmagic.
I'll have you know.
Why don't you pick Fitzmagic?
If
then?
that persuades you. at all.
Not at all.
Fitzmagic ran out after the first few weeks of the season. I don't think
You
that
guys are
magic
more
is
than
here
welcome
anymore.
to take Tampa Bay, both of you.
This week you're going to get average Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well,
Carolina's rolling. Panthers.
Joe.
Cam Newton's playing smart football.
Do I want to really make up ground or really lose ground? Fitzmagic, let's go.
Christian McCaffrey's the only player leading his team in receiving yards and rushing yards right now. Pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
but that's kind of the game that, like, Saquon Barkley is. I thought Saquon Barkley was.
Christian McCaffrey's the only person.
Hmm.
I saw that stat yesterday. And that's the Giants. If he did that, I wouldn't be surprised. They're losers. He's doing it on a winning team.
I mean,
That matters.
McCaffrey's in a similar situation.
Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I'm gonna go
Take
Ravens
your
on this
Ravens.
one. Yeah,
Do
I'm
it.
taking the
Do
Ravens. I'm taking them.
Do
But
it,
they haven't
Joey.
looked very
Do it,
good.
Joey.
Last they
Taking
got
the Ravens.
they
Put your
got
confidence
bounced
in
by
those
the
Ravens.
Panthers.
Steelers.
James Conner's looked pretty good lately. I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go.
he's
With,
on my fantasy team.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers. This one I just don't feel confident, unfortunately.
Houston at Denver. I
Denver
really,
Denver literally just traded Demaryius Thomas to you. What a horrible spot
You
for
picking Denver?
Denver to be in. No, I'm picking
Oh, they get to
Houston.
play each other. That's kind of cool.
What a bad spot for Denver to be in.
Although Emmanuel Sanders is having an outstanding season.
I think you should go Broncos.
No, I'm going to Texans.
We have 3 picks so far that we all have the same.
That's what I like to see.
LA Chargers at Seattle. Give me the Chargers. I almost went Seattle. I couldn't do it.
Give me Seattle. I'm trusting Russell.
I'm not confident.
I love Phillip Rivers, but
I'm not confident in my pick.
Russell in Seattle versus the Chargers. I'll take Russell.
I'm going Chargers. They look pretty solid.
Game of the week. LA Rams at New Orleans Saints. The Saints give the Rams their first loss. Give me New Orleans.
This game will be good. But I got to go with the Rams. They're just so tough.
Join the dark side, Malik.
It's in New Orleans. New Orleans gives the Rams their first loss.
Let's go. And then Green Bay at New England. By the way, did you guys see that Sunday Night Football commercial with Michael Jordan?
No.
You guys didn't see that? Oh, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Michael Jordan kind of saying he wants to see the two. So he wants to see Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady face off for who's the greatest of all time.
Unfortunately, that won't happen. That won't happen.
But yeah,
What was the matchup?
Green Bay at New England. I'm going New England.
New England.
It's in New England.
New England.
This is a boring week for us.
That one's
guys.
for you, Detroit.
Chris, you're not taking those chances. That's why. He's trying to get back in the game.
I took some different picks.
Tennessee at Dallas will finish us off for Monday Night Football.
Dallas.
Gotta go Cowboys.
Got to.
Take Tennessee then. No one's stopping you.
I'm taking Tennessee.
Thank you.
I don't trust Marcus Mariota in Dallas.
That's our NFL picks for this week. We will check in next week when Chris is still in third, and Malik and Joey battle it out for who's number one.
Lions fans, stop blaming Matt Stafford for all your life problems.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
If you get into a car accident, it wasn't Matt Stafford's fault.
But what if they saw the Ford commercial and they got a F-150?
Stop it.
I'm just saying. Let's get into some NBA talk, some NBA storylines. I wrote this last night before the games, and the first thing I wrote down was Steph Curry going for the MVP. And then Klay Thompson happened. And then KD happens too, and at Madison Square Garden. Any of these three, you put them on separate teams, they all could contend for the MVP trophy. But I think Steph Curry is definitely kind of gunning for his third one this year. What do you guys think? What are his chances of doing so? Malik or Joe?
I said it at the very beginning that I thought he had a chance, and you guys kind of questioned me about it. And
I think we had good reason. Them three being on the same team, it's
yeah, but
you have to do unbelievable things. To
well,
win
like I
MVP,
was
and
saying,
Steph
I
is
just
doing that so far.
I just felt like, I mean, it was just from the first couple games, but like I just felt like he's had a different mentality going into this year. Like he's playing at like that MVP level that we've seen him in the past, and you can just kind of tell that it's a little bit different than, you know, when it's a normal Steph Curry year, I guess.
Malik?
What was the question? I remember
Any chance he gets
what
MVP
like
this
what
year?
are his chances?
Oh, he has great chances right now. I mean, I don't. Obviously, I don't.
I'm
think
just saying
he'll-
end game. Do you think he has a solid chance to win the MVP by the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't think he'll stay on this incredible pace he's on.
Well, I think he
but
needs to stay.
he'll still have amazing games, and he can average 20, 27, 28 points a game.
Well, I think he needs to stay on this incredible pace to actually get the consideration for it, considering he's playing with KD,
Probably.
Draymond,
And
Klay.
that's unfortunate because that's the way that the voting goes necessarily. And I know, man, who was it? They were talking about it. Somebody on ESPN, they were talking about how it's kind of unfortunate about like guys that have already won the MVP award.
Yeah,
a lot of the
this.
times they try
get
to give it
overlooked,
to
yeah.
newer guys, which is just like how the
Like a
award
Giannis
has
or
gone
AD.
recently, which is
LeBron can't win it every year.
right.
That's basically what it's called to me.
Yeah.
yeah.
Can't give it to LeBron every year.
Where does Steph rank among the best players in the NBA right now? Regardless of what team he plays for, regardless of
Top
the
five.
minutes. Well,
Yeah.
where does he? He's number 5 for both of you.
He's
Not. I
Who
don't
do you
know
have
if
ahead
he's
of him? Who
number
do you have ahead of
5.
him?
Ahead of him,
he's got to be top.
I
He's obviously easy top 10.
LeBron is
I
number
think
I
one.
don't need top 10.
No, I
'cause
know, but I'm just saying like in my mind.
You're talking just right now.
I
Right
think
now,
he's top.
where does he rank as the best player in the NBA?
I think he's top 5.
Well,
He's
right,
probably
right now. He'd have to
5.
be like 1 to me.
You think he's the
I
right
don't-
now out
who's
of all the
playing-
players in the
Who's playing
NBA?
better than Steph right now?
I think he's
Really?
I'm not talking about this early portion of the season. Just
Oh,
take his whole body of work
His
as
whole
a player.
career.
Just his whole body of work and what he is right now as a player.
what he brings to the team, what he can do, what
One is LeBron. I don't think that's a
I said one is
question.
LeBron.
2 is tough.
James Harden's top 5. Kevin Durant top 5.
I go
Anthony
KD.
Davis.
I do KD 2, Anthony Davis 3, Steph Curry 4.
I could agree with that.
Are we in all?
I think
unanimous?
Steph's
Well,
in top 5.
If you're talking about what Steph has done, he's ahead of Anthony Davis.
Talking about
But
who's
pure
the best
talent-
player.
Pure talent and player. Anthony Davis is ahead of Steph.
it's all on a matter of opinion because
Exactly.
I think he's top 5 because like what he brings to a team, no other player in the NBA has ever brought into a team. Like the dynamic that he ensues into an offense is insane. Like you even hear Steve Kerr saying where, you get guys a lot of the time, they shoot 30-footers and stuff, and you're like, all right, let's slow down a little bit.
Well, I think
Steph's out there shooting 40-footers, and there's like, that's a pretty good look.
yeah. But I think part of it too is I'm going to sound like an old man here when I say this too. The NBA really needs to go back to letting players hand check. It's getting ridiculous.
They should.
The amount of no touching of a player coming off a screen, but then they can body somebody in the paint. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why are we babying the shooters opposed to the guys that are banging in the posts that are going to actually get big injuries opposed to a guy having a hand on a hip? I don't know. That's one of the more depressing things for me this early season, seeing how many foul calls we've had when it comes to that and how few foul calls we've had of people bodying in the paint. It's just kind of the discrepancy in what is considered a better foul and not as much of a foul. Moving on, though. There was some big news in the NBA. In Cleveland. I told you guys going into the year this team was going to be terrible. You guys were all like, oh, they might contend for the playoffs.
Everybody.
No.
Listen.
Malik.
Nobody put thought into why they said they'd be horrible.
I did.
They
LeBron was gone. Look at the
to me,
facts, Malik. Look at the facts. Every time LeBron leaves a team, that team is terrible. It's facts. That's all you had to see. Thank you.
I thought that would have been better.
Anyways,
I put more thought into. Maybe it's because I put
You're
more.
okay- yeah,
I put
you're
more
overthinking
thought
it.
into
That's what it is.
and everybody else didn't put.
They
just
what
saw
it was.
LeBron
It was
left.
overthinking. That's what it was.
Hey, man,
It's all good.
it's not a good combination of players on that team. It's not.
And it's not a good combination.
They don't
of
work well together.
The front office and the coaching also clearly because Cavs can Ty Lue after his 0-6 start.
I don't know who thought Ty Lue was a good coach to begin with.
Nobody, but 6 games is not a fair amount.
They could have
to let
kept
that
David Blatt. I've been saying that for 4 years.
No.
If they kept Blatt, they were still going to win a championship.
I don't know.
They were still going to win a
Probably,
They did
championship.
not. The players didn't like Blatt. Is the issue? They liked Ty Lue, and that played a big role. Players that like their coach play harder for their coach. It's just how
I
it is.
understand that.
And if you don't like your coach, you're gonna quit and kind of be like, I don't feel like playing the rest of this game or coming back when we don't need to. The reason for Ty Lue being fired from many reports is Lue wanted to play his veteran players like J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, big minutes in the rotation, opposed to giving him to a David Nwaba, a guy, a young player that really isn't ready to play. So after Ty Lue kind of disobeyed front office, he got let go.
Which is sad because that's Ty Lue trying to win.
Exactly. He's in a
you wanna
lose-lose
put out-
situation. If he's listening to the front office, he's ultimately just going to continue to hurt his coaching record, which plays a big factor in when he gets hired again. But I think Ty Lue personally is in the perfect situation because no more losses go on his record. He has an NBA championship under his belt. And he's making $15 million for doing nothing for 3 years.
Yep.
Shout out to Ty Lue. Was it the right move for Cleveland? Regardless of how it was done or if you agree with what happened,
I think
was it the right move?
It was going to happen sooner or later. Ty Lue,
Yeah.
I didn't see Ty
you're-
Lue being there.
If
for
you're
years.
Colby Altman, do you make that call at 0-6? Do you fire Ty Lue?
I mean, why not just do it now?
Yeah.
If you just keep waiting, he becomes a part of Cleveland.
But here's the
Players
other
like
factor
him
too.
more.
There's such a disconnect between the front office and ownership and the coaching level. Larry Drew, who in a release, the Cleveland Cavaliers said he would be the interim head coach. Larry Drew has denied that, calling himself the voice of the Cavaliers because he does not want to accept that role from
Yeah, he
front
doesn't want
office unless he's secure going forward.
Right.
Cleveland has got a lot of stuff going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean,
LeBron was the one thing keeping them together.
barely. Because
Yeah,
LeBron,
barely.
while he was there, had a lot of problems with different things
So
in the front
playoff-
office.
Playoff hopes are done for this team, right?
Oh,
We can lock
completely
that in.
done.
Lock it in.
Yeah, they,
Okay.
I thought their talent pool was enough to maybe like squeak in, but
And
Yeah,
Kevin
there-
Love is
something-
out for a month now.
they're just not they're not clicking. Like we said, like Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith, none of those guys are playing, so they don't have they're done.
All right. I'm gonna hit you guys with 5 teams, whether they might be playing really well or they might be playing really bad. And you gotta tell me which of these teams is the early season surprise for you. Is it the 6-1 Toronto Raptors, the 7-0 Milwaukee Bucks, the 1-4 Oklahoma City Thunder, the 4-1 Detroit Pistons, or the 1-4 Houston Rockets?
Biggest surprise?
Yeah, and it can be Either you guys can take this one first.
I'll say the biggest surprise to me is Milwaukee being 7-0, but I still don't believe in that team.
Why don't you believe in that team, though?
Because we've seen regular season teams that play great in the regular season.
And
I.e.
just
the
don't-
Toronto Raptors.
60-win Hawks.
Yeah, I was going to say the Hawks.
The first seed Celtics that didn't really end up doing anything.
Portland Trailblazers last year getting swept by the Pelicans.
We've seen teams like this that have just great chemistry and really good coaching in the regular season. But when they get to the playoffs, they don't have enough to get past the first or second round. And I still think, besides Giannis and Chris Middleton, who you can fully trust in at all times, I really like Malcolm Brogdon, but he's not that
You don't
level
like
of a
Eric
player.
Bledsoe?
I like Eric Bledsoe, but I
You don't like Brook Lopez?
Eric Bledsoe got torched by Terry Rozier. Come on.
Come on, man. That's
He got
last
torched by Terry.
year.
It happened.
I know,
It happened.
but come
Bledsoe
on.
had a bad year overall last year, though.
Mid-season trade.
And even
he
though-
didn't want to be there.
Even though he could be settling in Milwaukee, I still don't think he has that gear to
Do you
go
like
into
Brook Lopez?
another. I like Brook Lopez, but I don't think
Ersan
he's-
Ilyasova? Dante DiVincenzo?
Do you like John Henson?
Who likes John Henson besides North Carolina fans?
Joey, who's your surprise team?
DiVincenzo isn't gonna.
You're not. I thought you were a DiVincenzo guy.
He's a really good player, but
So you like?
I don't think they're gonna give him. Budenholzer isn't
He
gonna give
torched
him the
Michigan,
opportunity.
so
Oh,
we gotta-
that's what
Really?
it is.
we gotta hold
I
it a
like
little
Dante
bit.
DiVincenzo, but besides those two, I don't see any players that they have that'll take them to the next level in the playoffs. If they don't get another star to help Giannis and Chris Middleton, they're going to be out in the first or second round again.
I mean, John Wall and Brad Beal might be available pretty soon. I mean, with all the infighting going on over in Washington, they're starting
Every
off
year.
sorely.
Every year.
Yeah, you're right. It's every year. When do they pull the plug?
Detroit,
you're
take a
Washington.
look.
If it was possible, I would give up anything for John Wall or Brad Beal. I think both of them would be awesome fits.
The thing, I don't think they're going to pull the plug in Washington, which is
Honestly, to me, that's kind of dumb. You're not going to win anything.
they're
with this
going to
team.
keep riding their all-star players
They're gonna wait till
To-
Dwight Howard's healthy.
to decent teams and
Who
nothing
cares
in the
about
playoffs.
Dwight Howard?
I feel bad for the guy.
I don't.
I think as long as they have a good team in Washington, they're fine. I honestly don't think they ever expect them to win a championship.
I mean,
They
I'm
just-
pretty sure
they just
ownership-
want the fans to have
Yeah.
a good thing to watch.
They're
Why-
stuck in mediocrity.
Well, I think the ownership is fine with
But
them.
they make the playoffs every
Yeah, as long
other
as they
year.
make the playoffs,
Yeah,
sell some tickets, they have that star, they sell some merchandise. Ownership's cool with it. I agree with
they're
that.
gonna be stuck in mediocrity soon.
Yeah.
Well, I think they are. Like being a 5 or 6 seed in the East every year
Yeah,
is mediocre.
Joe, who is your surprise team?
I mean, the Bucks are one, but I'm gonna go with the Rockets. I didn't expect them to start this slow.
And there's also they did start slow, but they look out of sync too.
Yeah,
if
they
you
just-
watch them.
Something just doesn't look right. I know James Harden has been a little banged up recently, but like they still have solid players. Like PJ Tucker hasn't looked great. I mean, James Ennis had like one good game, and I mean, we saw him
And
with
he's
the
hurt.
Pistons, and we were glad to see him leave.
I don't know why people like some NBA people were like, "Oh, James Ennis is a great pick."
people just keep picking him up instantly.
because he's a wing that can shoot threes.
he's
I guess.
he's athletic and can shoot sometimes.
I'm not an Ennis guy.
Eric Gordon is a lot streakier this year so far. Carmelo's had a couple good games, the last 2, but he's looked pretty bad. Whereas, of course, me being a Melo fan, I thought he would have played a little bit better. And some of the games that he's come out and hit a couple shots, and then he just kind of fades away, which is weird. You would think he'd get a rhythm
So
going.
what he's been doing for the past 2 years for some reason.
Yeah, he hasn't looked like he's in.
He can't get into a rhythm.
Yeah, and I don't know why that is. Like I said, the last 2 games, being able to start helped him. He looked pretty good in that game. But the Rockets are just kind of out of sorts, which is weird for. I mean, I know they lost some key guys, But you didn't think that they would lose enough to like look so out of whack like they do right now. It's kind of surprising. And to be blown out a couple times. Like they've had some pretty bad losses.
Yeah, between them and Oklahoma City, I really didn't see it coming, especially Oklahoma City starting out 0-4.
I'm not surprised about Oklahoma City.
Especially with Russell coming back from injury.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like I've never been a big OKC guy. Like they just
you're a
don't,
Russell hater.
They don't have any depth. That's like the biggest thing for me is like I don't know who besides Russell Westbrook and Paul George.
The Dennis Schroeder move was all right.
I liked it.
Yeah. But if either Paul George or Russell Westbrook has an off game, they're not going to win games.
It's kind of like the Pistons, only they have one player.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
And let's get to that right now. As of right now, the Pistons stand at 4-1. Got torched by
a real team.
By the number one team in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion, the Boston Celtics, who finally looked like the real deal, especially against the Pistons. They play again tonight in Boston. Give me the Pistons, by the way. Win by 3. What do you think of this start for the Pistons? Best start in 10 years at 4-1.
Blake Griffin is carrying the load. He's putting it on his back, and I respect it. I really respect him for
Is this start a fluke, or is it real?
Fluke.
Real as I mean a playoff team. Oh.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. Just at 4-1, I can't tell.
They beat some bad teams. Like they beat teams they were supposed to. And they barely beat the Sixers without Ben Simmons.
I don't like that argument. Even without Ben Simmons, that team is still pretty good.
Yeah. But it's without Ben Simmons, who's one of their best players on the team.
But Ben Simmons also, in certain instances, makes it easy to guard that team because you can lay off them defensively from deep. So it's a give or take.
They got torched by J.J. Redick in that game.
J.J. Redick does not get as many touches, I don't think, if Ben Simmons is playing.
I really think it's time to get rid of Andre. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
We're not even at the Joey Hot Take segment yet.
Andre Drummond he's not mature. His game still hasn't improved in terms of just giving him the ball. His rebounding is great. You can never understate that. His rebounding is great. But besides the rebounding, what is he giving you?
Think of this. If the Pistons could somehow miraculously, I don't know if it's possible, acquire John Wall to pair with Blake and Andre. I think
that would be a weird combination. It would be.
I don't know, man. That would be.
I'd like to
terrible
see it,
for chemistry.
Yeah.
I think it would be terrible for chemistry.
Probably
because I from all you hear is John Wall's really not the best teammate. But it'd be great to sell tickets, especially at LCA. That's Tom Gorse is thinking about. But yeah, that was my next question when it comes to Blake. Is his early season play going to carry on through the year?
I think he'll be consistently really good. I'm not sure.
What's consistently really good to you? Like what?
24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists.
Okay.
9 rebounds, 5 assists. He could stay around there, but he needs other people to seriously step up, consistently step up. Like Andre has to step up.
And I'm done with Reggie Jackson. I think too. He has.
Wow.
No.
You've come a long way.
I like him still, but I'm done with him as a player for my team. Because he has no burst anymore. There's no more burst left in his knees. He can't get by. Whoa! He can't get by a defender, and he's just a catch and shoot player.
He still likes playing hero ball.
It's because he's not the guy anymore, and he knows it.
Whenever he thinks the team is about to take a slump, he feels like he has to be Robin Hood.
But now that Blake's there, he's like Robin.
He doesn't know what to do.
Have you guys kind of felt that maybe Reggie and Blake don't care for each other? Like maybe Reggie's a little envious.
I've never really noticed it, but I just feel like that's Reggie's personality.
Yeah.
That now,
jealous type.
Like when it's Reggie and Andre is like the personality star, but like Reggie can be the guy that, finishes games. Andre's not going to be your closer, obviously. Whereas Blake, we saw it. He hit the game winner. Reggie was nowhere to be seen. I'm sure in Reggie's head, he's like, this is not good. Like, how could they not give me the ball? Look what I've done for this team. I've made dumb mistakes.
His best role was in OKC as a backup.
Yeah.
And he played that role great.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up big time for them a lot of times, being the backup to Russell Westbrook.
I agree with you, but also when Reggie was healthy before all his knee issues, he was
showed
a dynamic point
promise, yeah.
guard. He was a dynamic
That's
point
why
guard.
That's why I've been riding for Reggie the past few years. Because
It's a bummer.
I've seen what it looks like when he's fully healthy. And
But I don't think we're ever going to see that again.
No.
I still don't think he was great. Mostly because of his
wasn't
IQ.
Yeah, he wasn't
I didn't
great.
like. I didn't like his IQ.
He was a
He had
top,
a really good year.
he was like a top 13, top 12 point guard in the NBA that year. What worries you about this team so far? I mean, we have 5 games under the belt. To me, it's lack of depth.
Yep, I wrote that down. It's Blake or bust right now.
I like that. Blake or bust.
Yeah.
To me, it also seems like certain guys don't get enough opportunities.
Like who?
When Blake is on the court, it runs through Blake. And if you don't have an open shot, it's like pass it to Blake and he'll find you open.
I love that offense personally.
I think there needs to be more getting other guys more opportunities.
But I think they did try to do that against Boston early on, and that was part of the reason why Blake never got in a flow and they got torched. Is they tried to get their offense going early. They didn't have anything. And then by the time they tried to give Blake the ball, Boston was already ahead of the game.
But I can see where Malik's saying that can be a problem. Like that
later in the
you
season,
have
that
to
can be a
run.
serious problem.
You have to run through Blake. Well, what if Blake has just a bad game in general, even being run through him?
Exactly.
Then nobody else is getting involved, and it's just a mess.
I've seen points where if you give Luke the ball and just say score, he can get you buckets.
That's a bummer that Luke Kennard is now out 3 to 4 weeks with a shoulder sprain.
Huge bummer.
And he had his best half of the year. He had 10 points in about like 6 or 7 minutes, and he got hit by a mean screen. At least it wasn't a worse injury. It could have been a lot worse. He could have been out for the year. But where are you going to get that production from now? Galloway has kind of cooled off a little bit. I don't know why they don't go to Glenn Robinson III more.
I don't either. That doesn't make sense to me. He's proven like he can play pretty good minutes in previous years, but he just hasn't really gotten big opportunity, which doesn't make sense either because like the Pistons they don't have any depth.
This is why in the offseason I said it's cool that he's in Detroit. He gets to be near his university, but that coach knows if you give Glenn Robinson III
He's
the ball.
talented. What are we talking
is.
about?
Most players in the NBA are talented.
I know, but
there are a lot of dudes that can shoot and are
He's
athletic.
played meaningful minutes for the Pacers, and he's proved that
did,
he can
and
ball.
he looked okay.
He's looked like a quality bench player,
A quality
and
bench
they're not
player.
even using him for that.
I can agree to giving him a few more looks.
I'm
not
not saying
too much.
I'm
not
not
too
saying
much
put
trust.
him in, not necessarily putting him in the starting lineup, but I'm just saying give him some 20-minute games.
I
See what happens.
I can agree with that. Guys need more looks.
Give up on Stanley Johnson.
Some guys
Stanley
won't
was the only player that played well against Boston. I will say his
Unfortunately.
his 3-point shot looks a little bit better.
Don't shoot threes.
If he's
he's open, shoot
he
him.
needs to shoot him.
Yeah, he has to.
He was 3
If
for
he's
5
open-
against Boston.
Just go to the bucket.
If he's open, shoot him.
He has to, or they're not going to allow him to get to the bucket because they'll be sagging off him by 10 feet.
Yeah. This team needs confidence, and I don't know how else they're going to get confidence if you just play Blake ball.
Well, Blake will have lots of confidence.
Yes.
Now, that's kind of like our Piston talk for the week, but I want to get into something we haven't talked in a long time. The revival of a segment. Joey's hot take.
We're back.
Do I have a hot take?
You're going to have to find a hot take
Oh.
deep within you.
Dig
I've-
deep. Dig
I've
very
given
deep.
you a solid month and a half, maybe 2 months since
Wow.
my last Joey hot take.
I thought
The
the,
people
Lions
need it.
I thought the Lions weekly was a hot take.
That's just a confidence check.
Before we get to hot takes, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you still think Phoenix looks like they could?
Man, they are
Wait, he picked? Did he actually pick them?
they
He
are
said Phoenix would be the
disappointing.
team to make a really big improvement this
No,
year.
you did.
They are a disappointment to me. They are a disappointment. I'll be honest.
The other day
I thought they were going to be good. I mean, they put up points. They've had some pretty good games, but
They still don't play
They-
hard.
something
One
about
in-
that team.
What are they? 1-6, 1-5.
I don't even know. I'm not sure.
I heard somebody call them the Washington Generals the other day, and that was too much.
Trevor Ariza had like that one solid game. Like, was that the first game?
Yeah.
And they looked good, and I was like, oh, cool. Suns are going to be all right.
You can't put all your faith in Trevor Ariza to be the guy.
That's
one
that's
thing
where
you
you
can't
went
do.
wrong right there.
So DeAndre
TJ
Ayton has looked good.
TJ Warren
DeAndre Ayton has looked good.
has looked disgustingly good, but he's a
Yeah.
bench player.
Yeah.
And Josh Jackson is not looked great.
Efficiency, ooh,
They don't. They.
ooh, bad.
But the biggest problem too, they like never figured out their point guard issue. Like they just went with
Yeah, who do they have?
Isaiah Canaan.
Yeah.
They have the rookie from France too.
L.A. Okobo.
Okobo.
Yeah, Elia Kobo, which he's gonna take time.
But he
so-
comes off the bench too.
Yeah.
Like he's in the second unit.
And they have Devin Booker running some point too.
Yeah.
Is he hurt right now?
He's been
Devin?
kind of banged up
Oh, okay.
a little bit, I think.
It's not like his wrist injury though.
Right.
King's
Joe.
looking kind of good. King's looking
Are
kind of good.
they?
They're 4-3.
I don't know if they're that good.
They beat
30
OKC and
32
OKC.
wins. That was my prediction.
I still
32.
don't believe it.
I
But
think you might be onto something there, Malik. 32 wins.
7 games in.
7 games in. You're right. You are
Joey.
right.
We need to stop avoiding.
What was it? The,
Subject.
the Orlando Magic were undefeated for 5 games or so last season. So
It looked great. Pistons looked great at the start too. Man,
They
those are
look
good times.
Yeah, they look
that's what
good.
scares me about this
RL
season.
Pizza Bias and Avery in the backcourt, front court, both.
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Nothing.
If you
Don't have
leave-
anything.
If you
No
leave this-
bold takes after this short.
I know.
Pelicans are going to be the
It
best.
doesn't have to be basketball. It can be football.
Pelicans are second best team in the West.
Why?
Yeah, you can't just give that to me.
Because Anthony Davis. And like I said, their depth really improved with Alfred Payton. Julius Randle has done exactly what he did with the Lakers, which is great. Mirotic has stepped up even more. Etwan Moore. They just look solid. I like the way that they're playing. Drew Holiday is like back to being somewhat of a role player, but like he finishes games. Like he had that game winner against the Nets. That was a crazy game. They should have won that game more easily, but that game was crazy. They scored like 5 points to come back in seconds. It was crazy.
The Nets have been in a lot of
Close games, yeah.
because they're on the cusp of probably being okay.
On the cusp of okay. That's
Anthony-
a great phrase.
Anthony Davis is
They're on
also
the cusp of
averaging
okay.
4 blocks a game,
He's supposed to.
but he's been hurt the last 2 games, so that's really hurt the Pelicans. I think they would have been undefeated if Anthony Davis didn't miss those games.
That's Joey's hot take. Not that hot.
No.
Lukewarm.
Yeah. Very,
best.
very lukewarm.
There's not a lot to talk
It wa-
about, though.
You know,
like,
he
it's
cooked it in
still,
the microwave. He's let it sit out for a couple minutes.
What do you want me to
It's
say?
not that
Klay
good.
Thompson's the best shooter on the Golden State Warriors?
There it is. See you guys.
Bye.
Lakers fans, stop crying.